Hello, everyone, and welcome to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show, your favorite stop to know everything about immigration and jobs. And thank you so much for joining in. Before we start off today's program, I wanted to give out this very important disclaimer. And that is, by watching our videos, you agree and understand that the information provided by our experts and attorneys, including comments and replies from users, is not legal advice. So, use of information is at your own risk. And I am Nipasa Pradhan, friends, on Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. I'm going to be your host for today. For an hour or so, we are going to have with us a very special guest, our regular, I'll say, because she tries to at least join every Wednesday with us. And she is none other than attorney Prashanthi Reddy. Welcome back, Prashanthi. How are you doing today?
I'm good, thanks, Nipasa. Good to be back.
You're looking lovely. You're looking lovely
Thank you.
today.
Thank you.
Different look.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yes, and well, today as well, we are going to have a good time, friends. It's going to be an insightful session. We are going to speak about, the topic today is the USCIS H1B fee updates and how to ensure that your case is not rejected. And let's see how familiar are you with the latest updates, maybe, and join us with the discussion. In the discussion, you can give us your comments, your questions if you have any to Prashanthi directly as well. Just drop them in the comments and we'll be able to take them in the show today. So, all right, then, Prashanthi, would you like to give us a sneak peek to today's program? What are we going to touch up on today?
So we're going to be looking at examining the fee increases and the reason behind why they've decided to increase the fee, and also the impact that that is having on, employers as well as employees.
Right, right. And there's so many updates, and even that the results are, or like you can say, out. The numbers are out at least for the H1B lottery this time. So, what do you have to say about that too?
Yeah, so it's as expected, right? I mean, the numbers are pretty close to the numbers that were filed last year. So, it's in sync with what everybody has been saying, that there is still a demand for H1Bs, for work visas. So there are jobs available for them. So we have to, go out there and do some activism and try and get the H1B numbers increased, because there is a demand much more than the supply of H1B numbers. And we're seeing a lot of jobs going out of the country because of that, and that doesn't benefit anyone. So, yeah, that's where we stand.
Right, right. So true. And well, I think it's frustrating for so many of us out there, especially for folks out there from India and China, because there's not much that has changed even after the numbers are out. So, well, anyway, we will discuss further today, and you just have to stay with us. And wherever you have joined us from, don't forget to tell us, your city or state where you have joined us from, and also your question. We'll be happy to take them. All right. So, Prashanthi, I think without further ado, I have some questions for you, and maybe we could dive into them directly before we take up some audience questions. So, maybe you could tell us what are the implications of the recent USCIS filing fee increases, and how will they impact applicants for immigration benefits?
So, the implications are very clear. The obviously employers, the implications have been more, the increase in the fee has been more with reference to work visas, so employment based visas. We've seen a high increase in the fee when compared to the other forms of visas, even though there has been an increase across the board. But if you look at the fee increases for, say, H1Bs, the high skilled worker categories, it's the fee increase is about 70% more for H1Bs and 200% more for L1s, and
Mhm.
about 129% more for O1. So all these are work visas, some form of work visas or the other. So we see that they're mostly targeting employment-based cases or work-based cases. The H1B fee increase, the basic fee has gone up from 460 to 780. For L1s, it's gone up from 460 to 1,385. O1s, it's gone up from 460 to 1055. So you see there's been a tremendous increase in the fee in the fees. On the other hand, the 485, so the adjustment of status, which is more a beneficiary based application rather than an employment based application, is gone up from 1225 to 1440. So
Oh.
it's only slightly higher, right, compared to the work visas.
Mhm.
Some other work visas which have gone up is the H2A, which is the agricultural workers. There's a rise of 137%. H2Bs for seasonal workers, non-agricultural workers, seasonal workers, is gone up by 135%. So you can see the tremendous increase in fee for employment-based cases. So it seems like they are targeting employment-based cases. In addition to that, um, investor visas has gone up by 200%. The fee already was higher for EB5s. It was 3,675, and it's gone up to 11,160, right? So, and then, to remove conditions, then again you pay another 9,000. So you're talking about 20,000 just in fees for the EB5. Not the amount that you're investing. You're again investing a certain amount of money, but it's just the fees that has gone up tremendously for both,
Tremendously.
for mostly employment based, but for other categories as well, but a lesser amount. And with these fee increases, um, the employers will be disappointed because, they'll expect, anybody expects that if you increase the fee that the service will be better as well, but we're not seeing that. The service is the same. The processing time is pretty much the same. And in fact, premium processing also the fee has gone up. And if you look at the premium processing, they've increased the fee, but the processing time also has been increased instead of being decreased. You would think that they would decrease the processing time if they're increasing the fee, but they've actually
Mm.
increased the processing time days to 30 days. So, USCIS unfortunately has a monopoly. Nobody else can process these cases. So therefore, we just have to pay what they're asking for, and they know that. In addition to the other fee increases, you look at the electronic registration fee has
Mhm.
increased from $10 to $215. That's increasing next year. That's an increase
Oh,
of 2,000%. So if it's exorbitant, looking at all these fee increases.
right.
Um, and you would think that since USCIS is going from a paper-based system to an online-based system, you would think that there should be a decrease in fee because that now there is a less workload, less people need to be hired. But in fact, even though they're trying to transition to an online system, they've actually increased the fee rather than decreasing it. So the entire fee increase, really makes no sense. I mean, we do know that USCIS operates based on fees. The Congress doesn't give them any fee, but sometimes they do give them a bailout, like they did during COVID time when USCIS said that it went bankrupt because there were not many filings. So at times, the Congress does mandate some amount of money that they give to USCIS, but fee based. But even if they are fee based, the fee itself is so high to start off with. So if you look at the H1B fee, it's already $2,000+ for employees over 25, for companies with over 25 employees, and 1,700 plus for companies over less than 25 employees. So as long as it is, it's exorbitant, and now this has just increased it to another level.
I know, and it's scary what it has become and what it's still becoming. So, friends, I think we'll just have to, I think, accept the change and try to fit in. I know it's going to be difficult for those who are, applying for these visas, work visas. So, stay with us. We are going to talk more today in conversation with none other than immigration attorney Prashanthi Reddy, who has been practicing immigration law for over 25 years now, and she's a regular in our channel, Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. We make it a point to discuss on various immigration topics every week. So today's discussion, friends. Thank you so much. I'll just like to greet the audience at this time. Hi to Yuvraj, Messi, Neha, Nayantara, and Medul. We are sure going to take up your questions. You just stay with us, all right? And Prashanti, let's move on. I have another question for you. And that is if you can explain the effective date and impact of the new USCIS filing fees implemented from the 1st of April 2024.
So it is, as you just said, it is going to be it is already implemented as of April 1st. And we were
Right.
talking about the impact earlier, but just to give you some more points about how it's impacting, USCIS, from the USCIS point of view, we've seen how it impacts from the stakeholders' point of view, but from the USCIS point of view, USCIS estimates that it'll get an additional of 1.14 billion in revenue from this filing fee increase, 1.14 billion. But as I've said, companies will be disappointed, but because they're not seeing an improvement in processing time. What USCIS seems to be doing is um, controversial, to say the least, because they are not basing the fee on the cost that they're incurring, but they're basing the fee kind of on a ability to pay kind of basis. So if for people who they think can pay more or can benefit more from the process, they are, charging them more money. So that's why we've seen an increase in the employment-based fees and not so much in, the family-based and the other applicant-based fees. So the agency believes that the deeper the pockets the filer has, the easier it is to increase the fee for them, right? So it is not the correct way to increase fee. It's not legal to do it on that basis. They should do it on a basis that makes sense. And so we are likely to see, as a result, as an impact of this fee increase, we are likely to see some litigation, um, because the basis on which they're doing it is wrong. And also the services that they're offering for the same fees they're not improving their services based on the extra fee that they're charging. So, let's see what happens, but we should, most probably, we will see more litigation, and that's a good thing.
Yes, hope so also. And I'm sure folks out there will also agree to this. And maybe if you have anything to say on this, you can also comment. We would like to discuss further on this. All right, so moving on, Prashanti, to the next question that I have for you, and that is, what are the new asylum program fees for employers filing Form I-129 or Form I-140 petitions, and how do they factor into overall filing costs?
Right. So as I was saying, there's a lot of controversy with reference to the fee, and this is the most controversial increase in fee along with the H1B registration fee. So the asylum program fee is a fee that they're, again, as I said, they're implementing it on the people they think that can afford it. So they're doing it on that basis, on an ability to pay basis. So they've put the asylum fee on the employers because they think the employers can afford to pay for it, but that's not what they should be doing as per the law. They should be deciding on the fee based on the work that they're doing, right? And based on the expense that they incur, not based on the pockets of the filer. So the asylum, we all know, is, it's a separate program from the
Mhm.
employment-based program. When people come in, they can file for asylum if they're being persecuted in their own country. And the asylum program costs a lot of money, and the fee for the asylum application is not that much. So they're trying to get that fee from employers, and so they have tagged on a 600 arbitrarily, really, because asylum has nothing to do with employment-based cases. So they have
Mhm.
tagged on a new asylum program fee of $600 that will be paid by all employers when filing the I-129 petition and filing the I-140 petition. So everyone will have to pay $600. The only exception is that if you are a small company, that is a company with 25 or less than 25 employees, or if you're a nonprofit, then you, instead of paying the 600, you get a concession and you pay half. You pay 300 for the
Mhm.
asylum fee. And this asylum fee you could end up paying it several times for the same person. When you can, you'll have to pay it every time you file an extension, every time you file an amendment, a transfer. So one person will end up paying it several times, and just seems like a high amount of money to pay, to continue paying for every extension, transfer, amendment, etc.
True.
Also for the I-140s, that will increase the processing fee for an I-140 as well. And again, every time you file an I-140, you'll be expected to pay that, multiple number of times. So that
Mhm.
seems unfair as well. Um,
Mhm.
and even though there is a limited exemption for small companies and companies, nonprofits, again, um, it is just begging for litigation, because the basis on which they're doing it, people who have deeper pockets, people who have ability to pay, they're charging them more, which is not what they should be doing.
Right, right. And so are you implying that USCIS is prejudiced towards the applicants who can pay more? Right? That's
Absolutely,
what you mean.
because yeah, they are exhibiting a prejudice, and therefore that's not
Mhm.
allowed. Everyone should be looked at and should be treated the same. So that's why I'm saying
Equally.
that it's ripe for
Mhm.
litigation. So let's see what happens. There's already one lawsuit that has been filed, Modi versus Mayorkas, has been filed by
Yes.
ITServe. And they've asked for an injunction on the fee increase, but they were not able to get an injunction. An injunction
Mhm.
means they wanted the fee increase to stop and not to start as of April 1st, but they were not successful in doing that. But the case is still going on a regular basis. So we will wait to hear, even though there was no injunction, if ITSA were to win this case, then USCIS will have to scale back on all the fee increases. But as of now, the case is still going on, so we'll wait and see what happens with that.
Yeah, I'm sure it has shaken the whole. I mean, immigration applicants, they have been looking forward for this and planning and planning. It's not an overnight thing, right? They plan and they prepare for years to do this, and suddenly, all of a sudden, all these fee increases definitely is shocking everyone, and not everyone is accepting it very easily. So let's look forward then, friends, to know more on this topic. And of course, don't forget to hit the bell icon, the notification bell icon. Stay in touch with us, because we will definitely keep updating you more on this topic. All right, so Prashanthi, let's move on to the next question that I have for you, and that is, how do proposed fee increases for the H-1B visa affect international students and applicants planning to work in the United States?
These it affects everyone. And with reference to students, if it affects them, I mean, if it affects the employers, it affects the students also, because they are the beneficiaries of the petition, the H1B petition. So if the employer has to pay a higher fee, they may not be willing to sponsor F1 students for a H1,
Mhm.
and which means that, that's the only way that students can remain in the country and work in the US. That's the main way that they can do that. So if they're not able to do that, then all that, uh, US will be losing all that, the talent, that the homebred talent, because they've studied in the US. Now they have a degree, they have a US degree, and it would make sense for uh, the United States government to want to absorb these people into the workforce, um, since especially in many areas such as tech, there is still a shortage of U.S. citizen workers. And as I was saying, jobs are going out of the country because they're not able to fulfill the requirements here in the US.
Mhm.
This is a lifeline. These students, these immigrants, they are a lifeline, and are kind of holding up the workforce in the tech industry. So if they are not allowed to, if employers are unable to file H1s because of the fee increase, or are more careful with the number of H1s that they file, then obviously it's going to affect the entire diaspora of people, including the F1 students. So you might see less people coming in to the US as students. This will again affect the educational system. It will affect the university. We're talking about all the universities. We're talking about billions of dollars, because the universities, we know, depend on foreign students to a great extent for their funding.
Mhm.
So it'll affect everyone.
Right, and even though there was another update we just read recently saying that, college degrees will not be required, and there is more demand for cybersecurity and for artificial intelligence, and they would be looking more on the experience side than the college degrees. Is it true? Do you think it's going to work?
I
Yes, the
don't know. I
GS
haven't
20.
uh, I haven't looked at anything that says that. So I don't want
Okay.
to comment on it.
All right. Anyway, Prashanti, let's move on to the next question that I have for you then. If you can provide some insights, into common reasons for H1B visa denials and the strategies applicants can employ, to mitigate these risks.
Um, well, going into the hellhole of visa denials, there could be several reasons, and there could be no reason at all, and they just want to deny it because they have to meet a certain quota, right? So if we're just going with that, then there's not much we can do. It's just luck based on which your visa got denied.
Hmm.
But there's sometimes particular reasons for a denial, and it could be that there's some discrepancy in the documentation, if it's depending on the type of denial, of course. It's a very broad
Hmm.
question. Oh, you're talking about H1B visas. So, with reference to H1B visas, most often they will deny cases when, though USCIS is approving it, for lack of, when your employer is not able to prove that they have work for you. If the consulate is still asking for end client letters, the consulate is still asking for vendor letters and MSAs, POs, etc. Sometimes when you don't submit that, the consulate might deny a case. Or if you have previously been out of status, or you have not, if you have violated your status in some way, and you're filing for a visa extension, then they could deny for those reasons. If you have been stopped by CBP at the port of entry, um, and if your visa was cancelled, then they could deny for that reason. If you're filing for an F1 or a B2 visa and you're not able to show that you have the intention, uh, not to immigrate to the US, then they could deny it for that reason as well. If you're not able to show family ties or financial ties to your home country, they could deny it on that basis as well.
Right. Right. We will get, I mean, it's endless. I think we can always have another episode to talk completely, entirely about denials and how to, yes, maybe have a better solution for them. But yes, Prashanti, I think I would take this opportunity to take a few questions from the audience. I'm sure they're waiting. And we should take up this one from Yuvaraj asking, "Hi, team. This is Yuvaraj. Is there any luck for second lottery this year?"
Who knows? The numbers are out, but we still don't know how many H1s will be filed. We will know that by June 30th. And after that, they will decide if they have sufficient numbers. They have said that they've selected sufficient numbers to take into consideration the H1s for that will not be filed as well. But if they have not calculated that properly, then if more people than expected don't file their H1s after getting picked in the registration, then it's certainly possible that, they will have a second lottery, but we have to wait and see.
Let's be patient and let's hope for the best, Yuvraj. Let's take up next. This one is from YouTube. Messi asking, what payment methods are accepted by USCIS for H1B fees?
USCIS allows you to send, the employer has to pay for the H1B fees, so the employer has to either send a money order or a company check for the USCIS fees. You could also file your H1 online, in which case then they will allow you to pay, online, either through credit card or e-check. So it depends on how
Hmm.
you're filing.
Okay, thank you for taking that up for Messi. Now, next one is from Nayantara. Can I request a fee waiver for my H1B petition if I am unable to pay the required fees?
No, there is no such. First thing is it's employer based. It's not beneficiary based, so you don't come into the picture at all, Nayantara. Your employer, even if it's employer based, the employer has no way of um, saying that they want a fee waiver. Um, but there is a concession on the fees that they pay if they are a nonprofit or if they have under 25 employees. They're paying a lesser fee.
Okay, okay. Let's take up this next one from Maithul, asking which type of questions are asked for the visa interview. So, since we're talking about H1B, so maybe on an H1B visa interview.
Um, so they will ask you obviously where you're working, who your employer is, what kind of job you're doing, to
Mhm.
describe, your job and describe place of employment. And they will make sure that it is matching with, there's no discrepancies. They'll go back to your H1B
Mhm.
petition, check out the petitioner letter, and make sure that your job description is kind of matching with what was submitted when the H1B was being filed. So it's important to go through your application that you filed previously, if you filed something with USCIS, and make sure that the form is filled out correctly and answer questions, based on what the application that was filled out. For example, if the application was filled out for a software engineer and you go there and say that you're going to be working as a systems analyst, that is
Mm.
definitely a problem, and then your case will get denied. Same way, if the work location is stated as X and you say that my work location is going to be Y, or my client is going to be Y when the client was X, then that could be an issue also. So make sure there are no discrepancies, study your application carefully. The rest of it is just, that's pretty much what they ask in an employment-based case about your job and your employer.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. And Maidul, if you are appearing for one, all the best to you. I hope you crack it and you prepare well for it. Okay. Let's take up this next one. This is from Raya on YouTube asking, can you provide insights into common reasons for H1B visa rejections and how these fee updates might impact those reasons?
Actually, they don't. They're two separate topic. I don't see how the increase in
They're
fee
connected.
will make
Mm.
any difference for the visa. They don't, um, other than the fact that maybe I'm trying to think how it'll impact it, but other than the fact that maybe employers will stop using attorneys because their cost is so high that they try to file themselves and make mistakes, then even though it might be approved by USCIS, at the consulate they might catch that error and reject the visa if the H1 was not filed properly or if there was some discrepancy in the petition.
Mhm. Okay, this is, well, Raya, I'm sure you have further questions or you want to make this clearer. So I would say you should definitely contact Attorney Prashanthi Reddy herself. She's an immigration expert. And, the details are on the screen. Contact her and check out her website as well. Her number is 212-354-1010. You can email her directly and get your questions answered by Prashanthi. Prashanthi at reddyesq.com. Please note them down with the correct spelling. It's there on the screen. and visit our website, readyesq.com. And folks out there, we will take up your questions. I've seen so many already dropping in, Sandeep and Anjali, Tara. We will take them up. We'll just go for a short break. You stay with us, okay? On Immigration and Jobs Talk Show, this is Nipasa Pradhan with immigration attorney Prashanthi Reddy.
Consultant seeking a new opportunity? We offer job placement services for US citizens, green cards, EADs, and visa holders. We also sponsor various work visas like H1B, E3, TN, and green cards. 20 plus years of experience in the industry. Exceptional employee benefits. Highly rated by our employees. Global presence with 200 plus recruiters and direct clients. Connect with us. Call us in the number 408-335-6444 or mail us at nipa@higherITpeople.com or visit our website www.higherITpeople.com.
Hello and welcome back once again, friends out there, to Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. This is Nipasa Pradhan, and today we have our special guest with us, accomplished immigration attorney Prashanthi Reddy, and she's here. We have been speaking about the USCIS H1B fee updates, and we have been discussing on to how to ensure that your case is not rejected. And of course, there's so many discussions, and we've even taken up some of your questions. We'll take some more of your questions, friends. You just keep dropping them in the comments. And don't forget to also tell us, where have you joined us from, your city, your state, and yes, your question, of course. So, Prashanthi, since we're discussing about the fees updates and everything, so what about sending incorrect fees? Of course, will be rejected. And if there is a misrepresentation on the fees and the USCIS finds out later, what about these kinds of issues?
So if you send out the incorrect fee, they'll just send the case back. They won't process it. They will just send it back. But sometimes when you send the case out, they might fee receipt it because they don't realize, um, in cases where the fee doesn't go through, they'll process the check, and sometimes the fee doesn't go through.
Okay.
They will then um, they may do one of two things. They may just return the case and ask you to resend it, or they may take the case but send you a bill, which they do rarely, but they'll send you a letter saying that please pay the fee within the certain time because we were not able to deduct the fee from your account or something like that. So those are the two things that can happen. Most of the time, they'll just send the case back.
And misrepresentations,
Um,
on the fees, and if the USCIS finds out later.
so they'll send a request for further evidence. Like, for example, you say you're less than 25 employees, you have to pay a certain amount of fee, right? And if you're
Mhm.
more than 25, you pay a different fee. So if you misrepresent that you're less than 25 and you pay that fee, they could randomly send you, especially if it's very close to that number 25, say you say 23, they could send an RFE asking for documentation to show proof of number of employees as of the date of filing. Your
Mhm.
quarterly tax returns, your payroll statements, etc., to show number of employees. So, and it could be an honest mistake. It's not necessary that it would be a misrepresentation because it could be that as of that date, especially if you're very close to that number, you might not have known that you had 26. You might think you still had 25. So it really, USCIS will not consider that a misrepresentation. They'll just deny the case, but I don't think there'll be further investigation into it or further action or a
Mhm.
fraud investigation started on that basis. But if you're
Okay.
very far from it, like for example, if you're only 10, if you're like 50 employees and you say that you're 10, then maybe that will trigger like a fraud investigation because it's so far away from the
From
actual
the
number.
truth.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, okay. And I have another question for you, and that's from our team. Employers are now required to submit a one time asylum program fee of $600 for each form I 129. Is it specifically for new H1B applications and H1B transfers? And
As I
also, is
said,
this asylum? Okay, let's take
go
this up
ahead.
first.
It is for H1s, and as I was mentioning earlier, it is for extensions, transfers, amendments. So you'll end up paying the $600 several times.
Right. Right. And the second part is like, in this asylum fee to H1B extensions and H1B amendments, who has been with the same employer with more than two extensions?
Yes, it's for everyone right now.
Okay. So anything else
So
you
the
want to
five,
add up,
the five,
Prashanthi?
there's some fees that you don't have to pay when you're filing for the second extension, but with reference to this fee, there's no exceptions except for the 25 and low under 25. For every type of case, as of now, we know we have to pay it.
So if your H1B is for 3 years, so it'll be 600 into three.
Correct. I mean, you're not filing an extension three times, but if you file it three times, then each time you file an extension, you'll have to pay the fee.
Okay. Okay. Very interesting. And yet, I mean, the fee hike is too much to just accept it so easily, I think. All right, so let's move on to the next question I have for you. Or let's take up some more from the audience out there. Let's take up this one on YouTube from Sandeep asking, what is the process for requesting a refund of H1B fees if my petition is denied?
There is no process because that doesn't exist. You cannot
Oh my
ask for
God.
a refund of the fee because it was denied because they have processed it and denied it. If they don't process it, then they send it back along with the check and everything. If you make a mistake in, the fee or the not signing the application or,
Mhm.
in those instances, they send it back. But if it is processed, then you're out of luck. Even if it's denied, you pay the fee.
Okay. All right. So sadly, Sandeep, there is nothing as such, but yes, if you want to know anything else further, you can keep commenting your questions. Now, this next one is from With Love Shri. How much will be end to end final cost for H1B this year?
It really depends on the number of employees. It's not going to be the same for everyone. But it's as I was mentioning, if you are over 25 employees, then you have to pay the additional $600 asylum fee. If you're under 25 employee, that you have to pay that is only $300. So basically, if you're over 25 employees, then it'll be 780. Do the math, 780 because I'm not doing it. 780 plus 500 if it's initial petition and not an extension, um, plus the $600 plus $1,500. So that's your total if it's over 25. If it's under 25, then your total will be you have to add 460 plus 500 plus 750 plus 300. That'll be your total. So it's about $2,000, $2,500 will be the total fee.
Thank you for taking that up for With Love Tree. And now let's move on to Anjali's question asking, are there any consequences for not paying the required H1B fees or for paying them late?
The consequences is that your case will get returned. They will not even look at it. They will not fee
Mhm.
receipt it. They will return it along with the check, and then I'll ask you to send a new one. So that's the consequence. If you are not falling out of status, then it's fine. Yeah, I guess you can just resend it. You're just losing time because they will not return it immediately. They might take a month or so to return that application. So you're losing a month or whatever time that they would have been spent processing it.
Mhm.
Um, if you fall out of status, then that's crucial because if you're bordering, your status is just expiring and you file your H1 petition just in time, And if it comes out after you have your status is expired, there's nothing much you can do because you can't
Mhm.
refile that H1B petition unless you're in status.
Right, right. Anyway, Prashanthi, I have some more questions for you, and and that is for individuals facing H1B visa denials. What are the key considerations when exploring alternative visa options, such as the E2 visa for entrepreneurs and the O1 visa for individuals with extraordinary abilities? Would you like to highlight some, please?
Well, it depends on why your visa was denied. If your visa was denied for some reason, which is uh, where you are the problem, then it could get denied again, with no matter which kind of visa you file. If it was denied for employment, for the employer reasons, then you could file another H1. You don't have to look into E2 or O1 as an option because E2 and O1 are specific for E2 is specific, um, and O1 is based only for extraordinary ability. So I
Mhm.
would say rather than going for these other options, you'd file the H1 again. Unless you're subject to the cap and you have not got into the cap, then of
Mhm.
course you would look into the other options. You would look into L1, you would look into um, the investor visa, you would look into the O1, which is the um, for entrepreneurs, as the question says, if you have extraordinary ability as an entrepreneur, you could look into that. The E2 is only for certain countries, not for all countries. It's the investor visa.
Mhm.
You could look into that as well. GN, which is for Canadian and nationals of Mexico, which is very similar to the H1. You could look into the
Mhm.
Australian visa, which is the E3, which is again a work visa, very similar to a H1. So yeah, there are some options, um, and only the uh, EB1 and O1 are extraordinary ability.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for highlighting them for us, Prashanthi. Well, we were just going through some of these posts we came across in the internet, and this post was on the visa bulletin, and we've noticed that many people have shared their comments and if if you could take them up as an immigration attorney, we would appreciate hearing your insights on this matter. So let's delve into the post. I think it's already showing on the screen if you can see. So let's take one by one. I think visa bulletin released and nothing at all. What's going on?
Right, the visa bulletin hasn't moved. We should be thankful that it hasn't retrogressed. I mean, it's always look at the bright side. Um,
Right.
we're expecting it to retrogress in August or September because that's when the fiscal year ends and when all the visa numbers get you know um, used up as the year goes by, and then we expect that the visa numbers will move forward again in October of this year.
Right.
So it's a cycle. It's expected.
Okay, right. So everything is normal. The big movements happens twice every year, it says. Anyway, so there's this comment saying USCIS focus is on illegal immigrants. How get them green cards so government can start getting tax money? There is not major benefit to give legal green card. What do you have to say on that?
I mean, I am not against asylum. I think people who apply for asylum are going through terrible circumstances at home and they're fleeing for their life, right? And they
Hmm.
obviously they're in dire circumstances. So if we don't let them in, deserving cases, of course, I'm not talking about
Hmm.
fake asylum cases. We're not talking about that. Deserving cases, I mean, that is they're running for their lives. So um, and that not to pit one against the other, both are equally important, and not to say that legal immigration is not important or that a lot of work, we know a lot of work has to be done on legal immigration, especially with visa number availability and all that. That's tragic how especially Indian nationals have to wait for so many years, to get their green card and they struggle, they remain here on a H1, and a H1 is not an easy visa to remain in status on because it has so many restrictions and so many rules and laws surrounding it. It's very difficult to be on a H1 for a prolonged period of time and maintain your status. So I feel for those people who have been stuck in the US for so many years without being able to get a green card. But at the same time, we shouldn't compare it with another category, which is equally deserving. I should,
Mhm.
I'm of the view that don't bring something down, bring everything up, right? There's no need to bring something down while you try to bring another thing up. Bring everything up to the same level. That's my view.
Right, right. That was Biren Shah. Anyway, next one is a comment from Saju asking, nothing new to expect until October 2024 bulletin. Is that true, Prashanthi?
We just discussed that, right? As of October, we'll see
Yeah.
some change. We don't expect any change now.
All right. So I think we can take up this one. Ryan asking, when is EB2 2020 for India getting current?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, let's move on to this news from Karan. Simple supply and demand. As long as new slaves keep showing up at the airport, don't expect anything. These comments
Right.
are. Any comments, Prashanti?
Um, we're delving into activism now, not really into what the law is and educating people about the law. We're just making comments on how it should be. And I mean, I agree. This is a platform where we should be doing that as well and making people aware of what this current situation is. Um,
Mm-hmm,
but the unfortunate thing is that there is an Immigration and Nationality Act. As per that
mm-hmm,
Immigration and Nationality Act, certain green card numbers are allotted equally to all countries, whether that's the correct thing or not. They're allotted equally. Unfortunately, the demand in some countries is much, much, much higher. So India
mm-hmm,
has many more people coming here than Iceland does, and they both have the same, visa numbers. I guess they wanted to maintain an equity between the countries so that tomorrow somebody else, Iceland, doesn't say, "Oh, why are you giving India more visa numbers?" Right? So I think overall, because we'll never win. Then somebody will file a lawsuit, even if somebody feels sorry for us and increases the numbers. Somebody else will file a lawsuit because it's inequitable, right? So the law has to be equal for everyone. The result of the law, unfortunately, is not equal, but the law has to be equal. So I would say the better way of doing this is to increase the numbers for everyone, or to remove the numbers completely, the green
mm-hmm,
card numbers, right? Or to keep increasing or decreasing them based on the demand. We know that there is demand.
mm-hmm,
I'm sure the U.S. government doesn't want, or the U.S. Congress doesn't want, all these talented people to leave, right? So they have to find a way for them not to leave. That's
right.
what my view is. Yeah.
Right, and Srinivas, I mean, in that same common thread, Srinivas is saying this immigration system is so broken. Broken. It is so frustrating. What do you have to say about that comment?
Yeah, it certainly is.
Broken.
And we've been waiting, I mean, that term is used very often. It is broken. And USCIS itself uses that term for themselves as well. They say they acknowledge that. The Congress acknowledges it, the president acknowledges it, everybody does. So
Mhm,
the problem is that we will not see any change with reference to um, it becoming, I mean, it getting fixed until there is some consensus between the Republican and the Democratic Party with reference to getting things done. Right now, if there isn't, and if they can't come to an agreement on it, then it'll never get done. Unless one party
mhm.
has majority and they agree to do it, which is not happening.
True. All right. All right. Well, I think this we can always keep discussing and we'll never come to a proper solution right away because we'll have to stay tuned and, well, just stay hopeful, I think. Well, Prashanthi, I think for a couple more minutes, if you can be with us, we'll take up a few more from the audience, if that's fine with you.
Yeah, yeah, I think we should do that.
All right. So this one is from Anjali asking, are there any consequences for not paying the? Oh, sorry, we've taken this up. Sorry. We'll take this one from Tara. Um, my company, I guess, or Y company attorney asked me to pay for the process. $990 USCIS fee for H4 and EAD, and $2,400 for their legal fee. If I do this, they will send the whole application packet to USCIS at the same time. The company covers my H1B fees. Yeah, that's it.
So what's the question?
So what's the question? Even I'm wondering. Maybe she's asking if it's fine for her to pay this much amount all at one go.
Well, the attorney fee should be paid by, generally is paid by the company, um, not so much by the beneficiary. In some instances it is, but USCIS frowns upon the beneficiary paying even the attorney fee,
Mhm.
simply because then they don't trust that there is a valid job offer. They think that if the job offer is valid, the employer should be willing to pay the fee for the benefit that they're seeking.
Okay. So, okay. I hope that was pretty clear for you, Tara. And if you have any further questions, you can just keep commenting. Let's take this one from Rajesh asking, how can I track the status of my fee payment and ensure that it has been processed by USCIS?
You'll get a receipt. Once you get a receipt, you know that it's processed. If you filed
Okay.
online, you'll get an immediate acknowledgement or receipt of fee payment. If you file it by mail, you should get it in about 1 week to 10 days by mail.
Okay. Okay, Rajesh. And then next is Vasista asking how employment transfers work. Will there be an interlink with first employer post successful transfer?
Will there be an interlink with first employer? If it's a transfer, that means you're transferring over from first employer to second employer. If the transfer is approved, then you will no longer be with the first employer, you will be transferred to the second employer. That's how it works.
Hmm. Okay, let's take the next one. Oh, there's a continuation. How can we continue working in US post 6 years validity if the green card application is in process and not approved?
You can, if your I-140 is approved, then you can work for an unlimited period of time and you can keep getting extended um, every 3 years. Um, so that I-140 is, when the green card is not approved, it's the second stage. Also, if your I-140 is not yet approved, but if your labor has been pending for more than a year, 365 days, then you can get an H1B extension for 1 year at a time, as long as that labor or that I-140 is pending. And once approved, then you get an extension for 3 years. That's how it works.
Okay, okay. And let's take up this last question for today from the audience out there. And this is from Sahil. I have some queries regarding H1B 2024. Number one is my H1B got selected this year with consultancy, so not received any confirmation mail. Is there any way to verify that H1B got selected or not? And
The
the answer.
US, the USCIS sends a notice saying that you've been selected. So if you have a copy of that, that is proof that you've been selected.
Great. And the second query he has is consultancy is asking to pay the petition filing amount. The condition he will return after 6 to 7 months. What is the new fee for H1B filing?
I think we discussed what the fee is. And again, that's up to you whether you choose to pay or not. But USCIS is not happy with applicants paying the filing fee.
Mhm. Okay, thank you so much, Prashanthi, for being so patient and answering so many questions from us and the audience and doing the show with us today. Prashanthi, it was such a pleasure to have you here today with us.
Thank you, Nipasa. Pleasure to be here.
I hope to see you again soon with a very, very interesting topic again about immigration. So, folks out there, check out Prashanthi Reddy. She is an accomplished immigration attorney, and you can even contact her directly. You can call her in the number 212 354 1010, or just email her in the email address prashanthi at reddyesq.com. It's there on the screen. Please note it down. And you can even visit her website, readyesq.com. So thank you so much, Prashanthi, once again. Have a great day ahead.
Thank you, Nipasa.
And folks out there, thank you so much for joining in. And if you have any further questions, even after the stream has ended, please feel free to comment them. We will be very happy to take them because we have our experts who are going to be very happy to answer these questions you have. And thank you for joining in today here on Immigration and Jobs Talk Show. This is Nipasa Pradhan signing off for now. Have a great day ahead.
Consultant seeking a new opportunity? We offer job placement services for US citizens, green cards, EADs, and visa holders. We also sponsor various work visas like H1B, E3, TN, and green cards. 20 plus years of experience in the industry. Exceptional employee benefits. Highly rated by our employees. Global presence with 200 plus recruiters and direct clients. Connect with us. Call us in the number 408-335-6444 or mail us at nipa@higheritpeople.com or visit our website www.higheritpeople.com.